Hello, beautiful beings of light. I hope you all are well. I am making a video today, doing a little energy report, and I hope I can hang with it out here in my backyard where it is winter. It is snowing, and I don't know if you can really tell. I'm trying to see if I can get a good shot here, but you can see this layer of ice, and I don't know if you can hear my boots crunching, that's kind of covering everything. And I just thought it was a beautiful synchronicity, as what I'm going to be talking to you today about in the energy report really has to do with this image I was shown in meditation of ice and snow and the crystallization of our energetic field. So the energy this past week, and I feel for the next several weeks, is going to be continue to be very catalyzing. It will continue to be chaotic, and it will be very important that we stay grounded and centered moving forward, especially into this next week. I said in the from the 1221 gateway that 2021 was going to be a year of anomaly, and that we were going to be pushed into expansion. And I wasn't really quite prepared for how much of a shove we were going to be getting into these new expanded energies. When I posted last week, I discussed this journey of 1,000 steps, and that it was 1,000 steps that brought us to where we are, and it will be 1,000 more steps that take us to where we're going. And I really couldn't, I mean, I know that I'm a channel and that I can see, but there's only so much that you can see, especially, you're kind of blinded a lot of times. I won't say blinded, but you're protected from seeing, certain things, or, where would the fun in life be if it wasn't spontaneous and you weren't surprised as well? So for as much as I'm aware of what's coming, I'm a channel, so these things come through me. I'm not always sure how it's going to relate to my life specifically. So I had done this video on the journey of 1,000 steps, and I had explained to you that I really felt like we were cleaning our layers of reality, and we were purging, and that it started with my home, and then it had translated to this block that I'd received on Facebook, and then went into my physical body. So instead of like trying to resist this block that I experienced, where I was connecting with, my tribe and my people, and really you guys have all been like a support group to me on a daily basis. Instead of like trying to resist that and continue to charge forward, I decided that I was going to sit with this energy. So, I'm cleaning and purging my home and my layer of reality. I'm doing this modified fasting. So, I'm feeling, with the first week of it, you're always feeling like you don't have as much energy to start with, and then it starts to come in, but, just feeling like really empty. And now I'm not talking to anybody either. And all of a sudden, it was like everything that I'd been running from, pushing down, spiritually shortcutting, bypassing, however you want to look at it, all started coming up. And instead of, trying to numb it or change that feeling, I decided that I was going to really, sit with it and see, where is this coming from? Why am I experiencing this? Because, I've been experiencing, very high, dominant resonant frequencies, certainly since probably the summer months, and really just kind of felt like, that was here to stay kind of thing. And so it was like really foreign to me. Whereas, in the past, that would have been the frequency I was holding. And then it was really shocking to me, all of this, you know, uh, real just, shame, guilt, fear, anger, energy that was coming up, and it was not going to stay down any longer. And I really had to take a deep look at, where this was rooted, and a lot of, meditation, and kind of, rooting out where this was coming from. I'm sorry, guys. I can't hack it. I'm going to have to go inside. I hope this gave you a little bit of, like a beautiful visual image, but I've reached my limit, and I'm going to talk about that, our limits and boundaries. Just hold on. Okay, so I'm back inside now, where I actually will have some feeling back in my hands. But yeah, so all of this, really dense energy and emotion started rising to the surface after I had, really emptied myself out. And, it's not just the feelings I'm feeling, also as an empath, and especially someone that feels the collective energies very intensely. It was, certainly being mirrored in the macro as well, especially here, where I'm situated in the US. All of these tensions rising, and everything's, kind of reaching a fever pitch, certainly in polarity and vibrational dissonance. And that is, essentially what was being felt is this extreme vibrational dissonance. And what I was shown through meditation is, if you're looking from the perspective of tethering and understanding that our heart chakra holds the 0 point, it is where our reality is created from, and it's where all of our power resides. That when there is spiritual bypassing, when there is trauma, when there is suppression, when we do not acknowledge and sit with these experiences, when we try to push them down, numb them out, disassociate, when we do not allow them to just run through and transmute, they get stuck in our energetic body. But we, continue to move forward in this state of dissonance. And the way that I had always viewed it before was, that it was like fragments or separation that occurred. And what they showed me this time was to look at it like a layer of ice. So if we think of the crystalline heart, and we think of ourselves as, moving to more of a crystalline base, to think of it as like a layer of ice. And they showed me, and I don't know if you can tell from this like little scribble, but this right here is a heart, and there is a hole, and there is like a layer that gets put over that, and that gets calcified and calcified every time we are suppressing or bypassing in some way, and it gets trapped in there. It creates a tear, and then we repair that by moving forward. And now that we're holding this higher dominant resonant frequency, and we're moving into these more expanded bandwidths, we no longer have the capacity to hold these lower resonant frequencies in our dominant resonant frequency. And so what's happening is that these layers of ice are being shattered, and we're being broke open, and anything that's residual, that's residue, that would be considered these lower tethers, because it's on a bandwidth, they need to be repaired, transmuted, alchemized, acknowledged, felt, and ultimately forgiven. And we can no longer hold this vibrational dissonance within ourselves. And we're seeing this occur, on a macro and on a micro level. And it's really important that we see that for what it is, that we feel it, that we, intimately sit with it and allow it to happen, allow ourselves to experience it. Doesn't mean that we have to be trapped in it or we have to stay in it. It just means that we have the ability now, where a lot of times when traumatic things happen, and one of the reasons we do spiritually bypass or suppress or numb out is because we don't always feel that we have the capacity to deal with it. And certainly for myself, a lot of what was coming up, and I was speaking about this today, is, things that I wasn't aware that I had a choice. I wasn't aware that I was creating it, that I was calling it in, so, and I think that is indicative of anyone who's, ever been in a victim vibration, or a disempowered vibration. You aren't aware that you have choice. And that is what leads you to feeling disempowered. But the beautiful thing about this coming up now is that we are aware that we are creating our own realities. We are aware of the fact that we have choice. And we understand now that we have the ability to create something different. And so it's really beautiful, the divine timing of it all. Where in the past it may have sent you down into a spiral. Now we can witness that in neutrality as the observer and really feel it and know that it no longer has ability to level us in the ways that it may have done in the past. And so certainly, this is the experience that I've had this past week, and knowing now that, should these things continue to come up, how I can transmute them moving forward. And so the other thing that they've been guiding me and that I got very clear messaging on was, what in your life is no longer acceptable is going to be coming up. Where are your boundaries? You're going to be asked to, be putting up clear boundaries. And this continuation of being pushed and catalyzed into change. And that is going to be a trend that we are going to be seeing here, certainly over the next 6 months. But many of us are going to be catalyzed into further expansion. I would say all of us in different ways. And then lastly, I think, the other big message that I received is, what things are for you and what things are not for you, and that certain things aren't for you. And that's okay, because the things that aren't for you, right, means that something else is for you. And the people and places and things that we've been holding on to that aren't for us, are always a door that we can open and travel down. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of tethering, understand that, we come in with this blueprint and we have these energetic cords, and where we were born in that certain moment in time will lay out what our lessons are, where our soul wants to go in this lifeline. And we're experiencing all of these things simultaneously, all these different versions of ourselves from the past, the present, and the future in this big, amazing symphony. And the past version of us and the future version of us and the now version of us and all the versions in between, we're all experiencing, and we're all learning and expanding together. All of these, we're quantum beings. So all of these versions of us are all living and experiencing simultaneously, because there really is no such thing as linear time. And that's all laid out through, this blueprint of tethering. And when we move in the direction of things that are not for us, we're kind of, going against the current. We're kind of going against, we're kind of, playing sharp or flat. And because we have free will, we can be or do or have anything that we desire. But there's going to be a lot of resistance in that. And, what are we turning towards when we do this? We're turning away from the things that may indeed be for us. And so we can really end that battle now. We can really end that battle with, trying to force open doors and windows that may not be for us, because we're no longer holding that dominant resonant frequency of fear. We know that nothing is really ever truly lost, and that there are things out there that are for us, that do go, through the alternative space in the bandwidth and the current and the direction of the tethering that was laid out before us. And so that is a very beautiful thing. And it's actually, kind of like a relief as well. Because there's a lot of amazing things to look forward to on the horizon. And we can't step into these new bandwidths, into these new expanded tethers, until we release and, chip away at this icy, covering, like this, I keep seeing this, like this black ice, and knowing that we're all going to be holding these new higher dominant resonant frequencies means that, moving forward, there will be much more ease and flow. But just like anything, we have to experience all that there is to experience. And there really is no such thing as, bypassing. We eventually, have to pay the price. And if you want to look at that as karma, or if you want to look at that, however you want to look at that. But we moving into these fourth and fifth dimensional realities will no longer need these giant, painful, polarizing, catalytic, karmic events to drive us into these higher dominant resonant frequencies. And so this is kind of like the death blows of that. But, in order to be born into something else, we must first die. And, I think we're seeing a lot of that ego death happening. And certainly a lot of these pain bodies rising to the surface. And I think, we're going to definitely see that before we can charge forward, before we can move forward into the next, direction. We need to be able to defrost, to defrost and let that alchemize into something new and bold and beautiful and better. So I hope that helps someone out there. I don't know if this was as fragmented as I have felt this past week, but it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. And just remember, if something isn't for you, that means something else is. That means something else is. And you're stronger and wiser and better and more expanded now. So you really can handle anything that's thrown at you. You really can. Love, light, and blessings to all of you.